So guys, welcome back to the channel. And these are two earbuds that I actually like that have huge price differences. Now, right off the back, the AirPod 4s are obviously going to be the better buds out of these two, but it doesn't mean that the K20i's aren't bad. Just keep in mind that these are $29, these are $130, and the comparison is just to show that you still get quality for the asking price, but there are some setbacks. So with that being said, let's get right into this video. For the YouTube viewers, there is timestamps in here. Skip to the part that you want to see. Let's get right into it. So let's start off with the Soundcore K20i's. So these do actually have a pretty decent battery life at 36 hours total, 6 hours in the buds themselves, 30 in the case, so grand total of 36. You have the option for bass up and other equalizer settings, IPX5, so sweat, water resistant for people that want to be inside of the gym. They do have fast charging. 10 minutes will give you 2 hours of battery life, basically of listening time. You have 2 mics for clear calls, powerful bass, that's at least what it says. If you're wondering what the drivers are, they're 13 millimeter drivers, so that's not bad at all. And I do want to also say that it has its own dedicated gaming mode in the application settings itself. And of course, you have the option for touch controls, full-blooded customization in that regard. Well, partial customization, rather. And it's not bad for the asking price of $30. Now, keep in mind, they are open-ear design, very similar, in my opinion, to the AirPod 2s. They don't look anything like the AirPod 4s, but does that really matter at the end of the day? I'm sure most people are just concerned about the fit and feel, how they sound, and things like that. And gotta say, for the asking price, these are actually very, very good. Now, the AirPod 4s, on the other hand, are going to have a lot more features than the K20i's. We already know that right off the back. So to kind of name some of them, you do have a personalized spatial audio with head tracking. So if you turn your head left or right, the sound quality will actually change based on what you're doing. You do have the option to turn that on and off. You also have the option to have a setting where whenever you speak to someone or someone speaks to you, or depending on where you are in the subway, for example, these are all separate settings. The volume will increase or decrease based on where you are. Now, that may be an issue for some people because they want to blast their music, but for the person out there that's more concerned about their hearing and longevity of, their hearing, because you only get a couple eardrums in your lifetime, this is actually a pretty good feature. Now, they do have USB-C, of course, same as the K20i's. You have IP54 for dust, sweat, and water resistant. Now, you only get 5 hours of listening time when it comes to music, and it does have a quick charge, but I think like a 10-minute charge only gives you about an hour of listening time, so it's slightly worse. Though these do have the H2 chip inside of it, they have in-ear detection. Multi-point does not work with Android devices, from my understanding, but it does work with Apple devices. So if you're using a Apple device, then it's kind of a no-brainer if you want full-blooded customization. But of course, that price tag of $129 may turn off some people. So with that being said, both of them do work pretty well in their own regards. So this comparison is just more so to show you that you can buy something at a cheaper price without having to spend top-of-the-line money and still get quality of sound. By no means am I saying that these Soundcores are better than the AirPods 4. That's just an insane take to have. But for a person out there looking on a budget that may not have $130 to drop on a headset, I don't feel like you'll feel bad about the K20i's if you use them compared to the AirPods. You'll be fine, in my opinion. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video, of course. Now, both of these devices do have application support. So what you're seeing in the background is the Soundcore support and, of course, the Apple support. Now, I do want to say that with the Soundcores, depending on the type of device you use, customization is going to be a lot more deeper and more in-depth. But because these are the K20i's, it is very limited in its functionality. But again, for $29.99, that is not bad at all. As you can see, it has its gaming mode and other features. And on the opposite side, we have the Apple aspect where you get your spatial audio. You have the option for in-ear support. You have the option to tweak the settings of how loud the earbuds are going to sound in the right or the left ear. All of that is there. And I do want to say that I appreciate that both of the companies have taken the time to give full-blooded software support for both. Apologize. Let me recorrect what I'm about to say. The Soundcores work for not only Apple products, but it also works for Android. Unfortunately, the AirPods, if you want all those features and settings and customization, it is only going to work for the Apple side in that regard. Now, you can sync it without a problem, and you can just talk and text. Not talking text, but just talking to them and answer calls, listen to music, and just consume media in general. But if you want the full-blooded application support, you are going to need an Apple device for the AirPods, so just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so there's two things that we need to talk about in this section. That is going to be the microphone quality for phone calls and, of course, music quality overall. Now, it's a no-brainer that the AirPods are going to win in this category. It has better, quality of bass. It has better quality of sound. It's much more precise, much clearer, and better in practically every category in every way, shape, or form. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. But as you go up past about 60%, you start noticing not necessarily a distortion, but the earbuds are struggling to keep the quality of music high, even at 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100%. Of course, I don't suggest anyone listening to music that high, but just kind of keep that in mind. I do want to also say that the microphones are clearer on the AirPods, especially if you're going outside, you're in the subway, it's windy outside. Granted, it does a better job of picking up less wind, and the person on the opposite end is going to be able to hear you a lot clearer too, so keep that in mind. Also, when it comes to recording in general, the AirPods do have better microphones. We already know this, but it's just more of a comparison to see which one is ideal, especially for the asking price. Keep in mind, these are $129. Now, on the flip side, we have the K20i's. Immediately when I placed them inside of my ear after listening to the AirPods, you could definitely tell that it's a lower end product. $29.99. That's not a surprise at all. But this is going to kind of change some people's minds when I say this part. The quality still was there. It still sounds very, very good. Don't get me wrong. If you switched them over to like bass boost, I personally think that it does a better job of keeping up with the AirPods in terms of quality of sound. Again, it's not there. If the AirPods are, let's say, hypothetically, a TV with 8K and all that, then the Soundcores are basically 1080p and they can record at 60 frames. You know what I mean? It's like it's still there where it sounds good. It's good enough. It's a respectable product, but it just doesn't have the quality of sound or volume that the AirPods 4 have. So just keep that in mind. Also, with the microphones, they don't perform as well in situations like being outside or being in a subway. You're probably going to have to put your phone on speaker or just talk through it regular through the microphone for that person to be able to hear you when you're in different circumstances with loud noise and background noise. But again, for $29.99, they do sound very, very good. I don't think that a person that buys the K20i's is going to regret the purchase because most headphones in the same range don't sound as good as the K20i's, even if they are more expensive. And that's something to think about. But again, AirPods are going to win in this category also. So keep that in mind. But it is $100 difference. So if we're talking about the quality of the buds themselves for fit and feel, this right here is the Soundcore on this side, as you can see. And then on the opposite side, we have the AirPod 4. Both of them, in my opinion, are very comfortable buds. You can wear these for many hours without having any issue, any soreness or anything inside of the ear. The bad aspect is that both of them can get very loose. You're going to find yourself like pressing your hand on here real fast, and same thing with the AirPod 4s, where if you're running, if you're jogging, if you're exercising, you have a higher probability of these actually falling out of your ear, to kind of keep that in mind. Obviously, something that goes deep into the ear or some form of clip would be better for strenuous activity like exercising and things like that. But if we're just talking about leisure, both of them are super comfortable, and I don't think you'll have an issue with either inside of your ears. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I like both of these buds. Obviously, the AirPod 4s is a clear winner. They have better quality sound, better quality microphones, just better overall quality in general. On top of that, you have the option for the Apple insurance if you choose to do that. I'm sure you guys notice in the settings that I just got these not too long ago, and I already did a review on them. Of course, I'm going to do an update on how I feel about them in about a month's time. But for right now, I just got the base pair model, and they're really, really good. Don't get me wrong. But they're still open ear, so there's only so much they can actually do. But you also have the K20i's, which you can find these for $29.99 normally, sometimes on Amazon $19.99, maybe even $14.99 at a Ross, and they sell them in black and white from my understanding. these look good. They sound good. They obviously, you know, they didn't use the best plastic and materials, but I do think that this is a very respectable product for the asking price. For just the average everyday person that wants the open ear design without having to spend an arm and a leg in order to get it. So with that being said, I do have full-blown reviews on the Ian West Network channel for you guys that are interested in going over to YouTube. That's where I primarily do all these videos. And you can see a separate comparison for both of these. I even have a video with an equalizer that actually boosts these and make it sound a whole lot better and make them more comparable to other buds in the same price range and higher. But if we're just talking about quality overall, obviously Apple's going to win in that regard. But in terms of price tag, the Soundcores are a definite no-brainer for the person out there that doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg for headphones. Anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Peace.